Hello, and we're looking in our weekend debate this week about everyone that's standing in the House of Keys. We're doing it by sections. We're on Garff now, so we've got Daphne Kane, Martin Perkins, Andrew Smith, Jamie Smith, and Gareth Young. So Daphne Kane first. Go.
Daphne's done some good work. Perhaps she's a little bit like me, a bit Marmite in certain areas. I would expect her to get back in, I think. And her contribution is very clearly and specifically her own. So, again, back to this issue about a number of voices, and Sam and I both touched on it. It isn't a question of getting a lot of lookalikes, it's a question of getting a variety of voices in Keys so that we have the best chance when decisions are made and votes do come to, that a range of views have been expressed on that floor, and Daphne does well.
And then things like refugees, though, she was.
Well, I didn't agree with her on that.
Oh, okay.
No, I went the other way. Not that we're here to discuss me, but no, I don't agree with her on that. But that, you don't necessarily have to agree with an MHK on every ground.
It's just the headlines.
It's the contribution.
It's perception, though, isn't it? Certain people are known for certain things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other one's sitting, Martin Perkins. Martin Perkins has had a tricky time of late. I think everyone will agree on that.
He's a lovely guy. If I'm going to be very honest about it, I think he's been too pro-establishment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Sam?
I think what happened with the trees was unfortunate because at the end of the day, Martin Perkins in his role as chairman of the planning has a very basic job to do, which is to chair the planning committee and count the votes up and contribute to it. Other areas fell down a lot well before it ever got to the planning committee. It should have been looked at by the local authorities. It should have been looked at in more detail by the wildlife charities. It should have been looked at more in detail by the department before it got to him. So I think he's been unfairly sort of pushed into that a little bit. But I thought ultimately it seems well liked in the area. I think he's somebody I've got on with reasonably well. He did the organ donation bill when he was in the last house, which I think is an interesting and very important piece of legislation. I know he's going around. He's got a bad hip at the moment, so I do not envy him at all going up and down the hills of the valley. But I think it's a really weird constituency because any of the five could get in.
And I have to bring Daphne back because I didn't ask you your opinion about Daphne. I mean, again, from the hustings, what was going on?
Oh, there was the only thing I said to her when she came out. I was like, Daphne was making notes and responding to questions, but she kept talking like this. It drove me insane because I was right in front of her, so I kept ruining my angles. But I thought she spoke very well. I think Daphne's one of them people who doesn't necessarily court popularity in a sense. She's somebody who has her view and sticks to it and says, this is what I think, you can vote for me or not. It's what I truly believe. And if you want politicians who stand up for what they believe, and instead of people who you can go where you change your mind every 5 minutes based on who you talk to in the pub, then there you go.
I think we're saying something quite similar there.
We're saying similar things in different angles. Really. Yeah.
Got two Smiths here. So Andrew Smith first. Now he's tried a few times. You know him at all?
Andrew, I would like to see Andrew get in, frankly. I think this next 5 years is going to be, I wouldn't say rough water, but tough. And I think he brings a solid, considered view to issues, which I think will be pretty strong. And I think that's needed compared to perhaps what other candidates might bring.
I think if this election was a year ago, he would have got elected.
Oh, go on. Why do you say that?
Because I think after the flood and what happened in Laxey...
he's on the flood thing, isn't he?
Andrew Smith was he became a bit of a community leader in terms of things. I think people felt that the central government, especially after that report came out, which said that the government knew about the trees that ultimately led to the devastation down there, I think off the back of that, he would have been elected easily last year. And I don't know enough about him aside from that. It's the only dealings I've really had with him. But I thought he spoke well on a varying number of issues, and he wasn't just focused on Laxey in a sense. He was talking about wider issues that affect the whole of the island. But I think when it comes to on a community level, I think there's a lot of people will value his opinion and also will recognise that he's somebody who, when they felt that central government had let them down, he was somebody who stood up.
It's interesting thoughts. Yeah.
I think what he would do, and I'm sort of following there a little bit what Sam said in a slightly different way, is that he's strong locally, but I also believe that he would be strong as a national politician as well. And isn't that the perfect?
And he's worked in government, hasn't he?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That again, that's the whole thing about knowing how things work internally.
It isn't crucial,
No.
but in certain with certain characters, it can be helpful. And in his case, I think it would be.
Okay. Jamie Smith,
I don't know, Jamie. I'm sorry.
data expert. Oh, and he's a commissioner, isn't he?
I first knew of him as being a commissioner. I thought he spoke very well tonight. I thought he had a good bit of support in the room. And again, he's somebody who... It's a weird area for me because I think there's two MHKs there who are very good already. But I think anybody of these people could get in. I think Jamie easily could get in. Seems quite popular with people that I know who live in Laxey. I don't know that many people live out in Baldrine and Mackle, so we'd have to see how he does out there. But I think that on a level on the night, he was very good. He was a very good speaker.
And Gareth Young, Manx Labour Party and teacher.
He was the best speaker on the night. To be honest, he was... I didn't really know what to expect from him, but I thought he spoke very well. He spoke to people's hearts a little bit as well, because he was able to tell a story. Interestingly, he bought Martin Perkins' house, which came up on the night. That was a weird sort of sidetracking moment. But
Interesting.
But it built into what he was talking about is that he was able to say, look, we've got a young family. We sold a house. We wanted to buy another house. And we ended up renting for a little while, and we got into this sort of trap of we're wasting so much money on the rental markets on the island, which are just... And I think that's really struck a chord with a lot of people, because a lot of people saying, I want to buy a house, but I'm stuck in rental. And obviously he's also got the thing of, as a teacher, he's very good at addressing a room. So I think he was very good at addressing a point which matters to a lot of people. But away from that, he also spoke very well on a number of issues, and he was able to put his own experiences into... what people want, not necessarily what people want to hear, but his own experiences of life into what other people have experienced.
So what we seem to be saying here is that the Garff is really well represented with some decent candidates then.
Absolutely.
Good choice. Okay, there you go. That was Garff.